Nelson is a famous historical figure. The name Nelson is too famous for you just to throw it away. And I have never thought of changing it.
One of the things I like about Mandela is he's tough. If you're going to be a progressive, you have to be tough. Nobody intimidates Mandela.
It doesn't matter who you are, he treats everybody the same. He makes you feel like you're the only one in that room.
He's good, and people's hearts leap because they're saying, this is how we can be.
I remember shaking hands with him and looking at his face. And his face was beautiful, and then when you looked closer, there were 1,000 very tiny wrinkles, and I just thought, they have stolen such a precious amount of time from you.
The first appointment this morning is Prime Minister Helen Clark from New Zealand, and after that the Mexican president, and then the foreign minister from Cuba. Apparently he's got a message for you from President Castro, and he would just like to deliver that. So we gave him 15 minutes, and then...
One of the first things you notice about Nelson Mandela is that he is unbelievably busy. Every day is packed with meetings. Today it's especially hectic because there's a World Summit in Johannesburg. It's as though he's making up for the long years wasted in jail.
I see. We're competing with the children, sorry.
Kulu, then you go home for lunch, and then you go to the hotel in Sandton where you'll meet with Megawati Sukarnoputri. Yeah. I think the Prime Minister is about to arrive, Kulu, so it's as if he doesn't realize how big he has become, and I think that is amazing about him. He doesn't realize, the enormity or the excitement really that he creates. I don't think it's that he doesn't appreciate his own abilities. I really just think it's because of his humility that he refuses to become almost kind of a saint that people make him out to be.
But it wasn't always like this. As a young man, Mandela lived through a bleak time in South Africa's history. Apartheid meant 4 million whites ruling nearly 30 million blacks, who were denied their rights and treated as inferior. Mandela was impatient for reform. He didn't think peaceful protest would work, urged blacks to take up arms, and was condemned as a terrorist.
There are many people who feel that it is useless and futile for us to continue talking peace and non-violence.
With a group of young activists who were set on forcing change, he left home and went to train with other revolutionaries outside South Africa. Accused of plotting to overthrow the state, he only just escaped the death penalty. Instead, he was sentenced to jail for life, trapped behind bars for 27 years. Mandela is in New York today, guest of honor at a glitzy film festival. These days he mingles with the rich and famous, often charming them into supporting his good causes at home.
Nelson Mandela.
And I'm very sorry my wife and grandchildren are not here today, because they always tell me that I am a has-been. And now that I've been invited for this august occasion, I feel they should know that there are some people who think that I can still perform some function.
I admire him personally because of what kind of person he turned out to be after what they did to him for 27 years. I don't always agree with me. He says things that I don't agree with. He has some analyses of some of the things that were done in my presidency that I think are completely wrong. But I think if any man on earth has earned the right to speak his mind, Mandela has.
While in town, the two former presidents team up to promote their campaign against AIDS in South Africa. It's a cause Mandela has championed ever since he retired.
Oh, very good. How are you?
How are you?
Very good. I didn't know that you are with in the Bill delegation.
You know Sandy Thurman.
How are you?
It's very good to see you
Very
again.
nice
That's the only
to
way
see
I can
you.
get him to see you is bring pretty girls in. I had to do that.
I don't mind, visit from young ladies without their partners,
You'll just have to witness us signing this agreement. We're going to work together and run the U.S. portion of UNAIDS Global AIDS campaign.
You and Peter are telling me to go get the money from Americans to fight the AIDS. That's what the deal is. As near as I can tell,
Just a
is
pause.
this is one of those deals where you call me and say, my president. I have to tell you that any conversation we ever started together where he starts by saying, my president, the rest of the conversation is he's going to ask me to do something that I will wind up doing whether I want to do it or not.
Oh, that's very kind. I gathered all of them as my mothers and their children as my own siblings. In fact, I can go so far as to say, in my younger days, I didn't think it was a mistake to have a number of women, and because I was copying from my father.
When Mandela was only 9, his father died. He was taken to live with his uncle, the ruler of the Tembu tribe, who became his guardian. Mandela first learnt about leadership, sitting under a tree listening as the elders reminisced.
The way they told me about the old stories of bravery amongst our people, I wished I had lived during those days. And they really inspired me.
At 19, he was packed off to study at Healdtown, a strict Methodist college. It introduced him to a world of politics beyond local issues. From his classmates, he heard for the first time about the African National Congress, the ANC, the party which was fighting for black South Africans.
People were not talking so much about traditional leaders, but we're talking about modern leaders. This opened my eyes to something totally different. And all that was shaping my attitude.
Back home, Rolish Lala, the troublemaker, wasn't ready to settle down. Tribal tradition dictated he should now set up home with a local bride.
I was being groomed for the position of a ruling traditional leader. But then my guardian, who was the acting king of the tribe, decided to get me and his son wives. The girl he wanted me to marry was in love with his son. In any case, she was not my choice. I was at university already, and I tried to persuade him to let me finish my studies. So I said, no. You can finish your studies, she'll stay with me, I'll look after her, and so on. But by the time I die, I must have made arrangements for the two of you. So we decided to run away.
That decision took Mandela for the first time to the great city of Johannesburg, an experience that changed him and the history of South Africa forever. Back from New York, Mandela is on his way to open one of the many rural schools he's established with the help of big business, escorted by his Presidential Protection Unit, and behind him in the convoy his assistant Zelda, whose job is to manage the demands on his time.
There's a lot of stamina, I think more than people of 20, 30 years old. He amazes us with his strength, really. He'll get off a plane from the United States and he'll fly to a province to attend to an event there.
Mandela has the use of Air Force Learjets and helicopters. Without them, he couldn't keep to his schedule or reach remote areas. He's 84 now. His knees are weak as the result of an old injury in prison, and at times he wears a neck brace for comfort. Along with his bodyguards, a doctor travels with him everywhere.
It's very quick, it's just up and down.
So you must start making coffee now.
Okay.
I have retired, but if there is anything that would kill me, is to wake up in the morning not knowing what to do. The only thing that keeps me going is the fact that I have a program. That is one thing that keeps me alive, and to stop thinking about all my problems.
The routine he's following, I think, comes from the disciplined way in which he lived for 27 years.
He gets up every morning, he does his exercises, he showers, he has breakfast, and the specific things that he eats to make sure that he's got a balanced diet. He won't grab a sandwich like we would do. You cannot, after 27 years, change your routine.
He was married, he had children, but because of his obligations, he never had time to have a normal family life. Take away all your defenses and you are just a human being.
Many people describe it as a romantic love story, the perfect ending to the story. Is that the right way to see it?
No, I don't know about that, and you can ask her that.
What do you think?
Well, I'll leave everything to her.
I thought it was the end. I never thought I could fall in love again. It would take somebody like Madiba to make me, to wake up and to live again and to believe that love is possible. And finally, to fall in love. That's it.
In 1999, after his 5-year term as president, Mandela kept his promise to step down. But that didn't mean bowing out.
Nelson Mandela meets the Lockerbie bomber in a Scottish jail.
Mandela, who threw a lifeline to Bill Clinton.
Former President Nelson Mandela has added his voice.
He scornfully described Mr. Blair as Mr. Mandela told reporters that there should be an independent...
Now one of the most respected world leaders is having his say as well.
People like him don't retire. They don't sit still.
He contributes to society because that is what he lives for.
It is a psychological persecution.
Nelson Mandela has become the most significant public figure worldwide to challenge you.
I think he enjoys the stage of the world. It also is beckoning because all sorts of people still want to see him, still want to touch him.
The White House has reacted with anger to comments by Nelson Mandela.
I think the United States has become drunk with power.
He can afford to be controversial and to say things people won't like.
We condemn that in the strongest terms.
Because he knows that he has this moral strength which keeps him true to himself and true to others.
And his comments sparked a firestorm of discussion on the nation's airwaves.
I'm now in my 85th year, and I must be satisfied with my life as it is.
Do you have regrets?
No.
Mandela often jokes about the day when he'll retire from his retirement, but it's still a long way off. There's no peace for a living legend.
You must not disturb my hair. I took an hour comment.